Good afternoon, gamers. I'm in the same shirt as yesterday's hot takes videos because I'm totally not recording these videos back to back. We have suggestions box where we take Overwatch suggestions and we take a look at them and say whether we like them, dislike them, or if it needs more cooking in the sous vide. First one of the week is suggestion: allow Junkrat's trap to stick to walls and ceilings. Add more places to have it stick, allowing him to catch people in other weird angles. The trap is so easy to spot in the ground sometimes, and it feels useless half the time, unless you put it right around a corner or something sneaky. This gives his kit something more to work with, and I get the idea it's a bear trap, but I think it would be funny having it nomming on someone's head. I think having like a trap kind of like archetype, like a, Pigpen is one for Roadhog. You obviously have this trap. I think having a new like snare or trap that you can stick on walls would be cool for a new hero, but I think Junkrat's pretty solidified. I don't think they need to rework like that part of his kit. It would be cool on paper, but it's just unnecessary right now. And this is just probably better reserved for another hero. Now, you say it's actually easy to spot on the ground, which is sometimes true if it's right into the open, but like it sinks in and like sometimes it's kind of hard to see depending on the map and if the Junkrat's sneaky about it. I actually just randomly thought of a Junkrat tip, which is totally unrelated to the suggestions box video series, but if you play against a Junkrat, just spam your ping really often, because when you ping, it shoots a raycast from where your cursor is in like a giant cone, and it'll detect anything that's within ping range. So you can actually tighten or increase or decrease the ping sensitivity in your settings. But if you have it really wide, it will ping the closest thing to your cursor. But if you ping it kind of like low and you ping like right around a corner or a building you're about to enter an icon wall, the ray will probably detect the Junkrat trap, because the Junkrat trap, the physical model can be sunk into the ground, but the hitbox of it is actually like very elevated in rays, which is why you can try to jump over a Junkrat trap, but you'll usually get snared because it's like a big invisible grabby thingy hitbox. So when you ping, it'll probably pick up a Junkrat trap even if you can't physically see it, which is kind of cool. I just don't think they need to change Junkrat's thing. So I'm going to say no, but could be cool for another hero. Suggestion: let us pin the badges we earn through the progression system. It should pin under our names or in the corner of our battle tag. Let us flex some stats. For example, I pinned my golden sleep badge on my name card. I agree. I think the progression system can use a lot more work. I do think I made the suggestion a long time ago, but I think progression badges and everything should be displayed in non-competitive modes. It would actually give it a bit more reason and more merit, and have people look at it all the time and understand what the differences are. But because like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when somebody shows me their purple or orange or their brown badge, like I have no sense of what seems prestigious or not. It's probably because I don't really look at my like individual hero progression at all. And if I play Baptiste, I want like my Baptiste emerald looking emblem showing up on my bottom left. I'm playing quick play and the enemy team can see that. And then it shows people that like, yeah, I play this hero a lot, for example. And to your suggestion, pinning the badge or pinning any sort of badge related to the hero when you play that hero specifically seems cool as hell. So I would say yes. Next suggestion is Moira's reticle, or her crosshair, reacts when her damage orb interacts or deals damage, but there's actually no acknowledgement that the heal orb is healing allies. Maybe suggest a visual and or audio cue acknowledging the heal orb is healing effectively. Well, there is an audio cue, it's just really hard to hear in the heat of battle. It's like a high pitched, like, not screech, but it's like a sound when it is ticking on somebody. And maybe they can do some work to add more clarity to that, because evidently you didn't know, and there's 35 people who upvoted this comment have not really heard of it, but it is kind of quiet. Each hero that does do a little bit of healing has a sound effect, but again, a lot of them just get muffled in the heat of battle. The obvious ones are the ones that come out of your bullet, or from your weapon, excuse me. So for Ana, it's very obvious when you make connection to a teammate because it's a very high pitched sound. Same with Baptiste. Brig, when you throw a pack, you get a little sound. The Inspire is a little hard to tell. Lucio has a little bit of music going. At the end of the day, there is a sound cue. Maybe they could just refine it a little bit. So, I mean, yeah, I can't really say yes because there is one. It does react, but they could just probably work on it a bit more. Suggestion: let us exchange the pre-Prism Mythic skins for Prisms. Prisms mean if you like the Battle Pass but not the Mythic, you can save the currency, which is great. However, before, people would just get their Battle Pass for the other skins and just be stuck with the Mythic they don't want. So if they retroactively apply the Prism system, they can get those Prisms instead. I actually like this, but I don't think they can refund the full amount. If they can refund just a portion of it, because at that point, people can just always refund a skin they're no longer using over over and over again for the new one, which means Blizzard doesn't make any money. And I'm all for the consumers and ourselves getting free skins, but we know that's never going to happen. So the workaround or the medium or middle ground is you get like half or like a quarter of your prisms back if you decide you don't ever want to use the skin again. Could be nice, actually would be really nice. So yes, but you know, Blizzard won't do that because money. Next suggestion, it would be best if the game now says player disconnected from the game instead of player left the game, so we wouldn't be so quick to judge the outcome and then throw the game. True, I think it's fine. There will be some people who abuse it and try to like muffle when they rage quit. They'll just, instead of leaving, they'll just like pull their router or just disconnect their Wi-Fi. A lot more rare cases, but I think so. I think that's cool. I think it should just show that locally. It shouldn't show that to the enemy team, but just your team. It can show that whether it looks like it was a connection issue, hopefully not abused, or if they like physically hit quit or exit game. I mean, I don't think it hurts anybody to just have like a distinction. So like, I'm just gonna say yes. Suggestion: the main menu or the play sub menu needs customizable shortcuts to whatever custom game I want. There have been countless times where I've queued for a game with friends where I could have easily played a few minutes of a custom mode if we could have entered it directly without having to go through the deep, complicated menus for custom games and workshop presets. It doesn't take too long to quickly load them. There is actually there is a button on the custom game browser where you can pick recently played modes where it loads it a little bit quicker, so you can opt to use that, but it is a little bit difficult to navigate, I suppose. Having a pin shortcut wouldn't be a bad choice. I just worry about the confusion, but this is a question left for the UI UX designers. But I think shortcuts and like an opt-in to pin something isn't a bad thing, so I'm just gonna say yes. Suggestion: similar to the old Halo games, what if Overwatch introduced a rolling lobby system, as in if a certain number of players remained after the match without quitting, the lobby would remain open, the teams would get shuffled, and new players would be added to fill any gaps, and a new match would restart right off the bat. This could help players get into more games without waiting for the matchmaker to find them another game, especially in higher level play where queues can be really long, and keep the game fun games going if it turns out everyone had a great time playing with or against each other. I think that's really cool, but Overwatch has a MMR system for all their modes. Quick Play has its own MMR, Arcade has its own hidden MMR, and obviously Competitive has their MMR or rating that you can physically see. Halo had the rolling system because there was no smart matchmaker. It would just fill the lobby with whoever, which is why when you played Xbox, you'd have like the gamer tag and then gamer tag bracket 1 for like the guest who's playing split screen. Because if you're playing split screen, really casual modes, either they usually didn't have a good time if you had one good player in the lobby. As much as I want to say yes, I'm actually very for having MMR in all modes. Smart skill-based matchmaking is a yes for me. I think people who complain about it are ones who just are complaining that they can't farm lower ranked players for 50 kills a game. I don't think that's healthy. It's not fun for the other player, and it just strokes your online internet dick more than you need. I think it's better to challenge yourself and play against people who are hopefully relatively around your skill. And even if you're not playing your best, like you have a baseline skill and like it should be challenged. Like if having going 50-0 every game can only be so fun for so long. But maybe I underestimate how big internet boners can get, where people really get off on getting 50 kills against first time players all the time. But the rolling lobbies just, I don't think works in 2024 as well, simply for that reason. Like there's pros and cons. Obviously the pros is the fun, faster matches and everything, especially if they had a great time playing with each other. But I would assume most people don't have a good time, especially if they lose. And yeah. Suggestion: Venture should be vulnerable to Earth Shatter, Meteor Strike, and Terra Surge while underground. A Deflecting Genji is still vulnerable to beams because it makes sense. Bob deactivates after being hacked because it makes sense. Venture is underground when an ultimate that shatters the Earth receives no damage. It makes no sense. Yeah, but I don't think Venture's like ultimate is even that good right now, and that just adds more counters to it than necessary. And I think as cool as things are to make sense, you still have to balance for the sake of balance, right? It doesn't make sense that Lucio can sound barrier mid-air. It also doesn't make sense that the Earth Shatter can climb the payload where you're standing on top. It's shattering the ground, but not that you're getting lifted up. You're literally stunned to the ground on top of a payload or on top of objects. There's many things that don't really make sense as well. Like those ones you listed make sense, but you didn't list all the other ones that don't. This one, while I agree with you on paper, it sounds cool that they should be. I think that was an early suggestion. I think that for the sake of the power level and competitive balance, it shouldn't. Suggestion: add 1 to 2 new maps for Flashpoint. Personally, I think that a lot of people don't enjoy Flashpoint because there's only 2 maps and it makes it too repetitive. Agreed. I mean, there's nothing to say about this. I think they need to add more Flashpoint maps. I actually like Flashpoint a lot. People say they don't like it, but you don't even get the mode that often, and I don't know, I think the mode's fun. Suggestion: Blizzard should expand on the hero progression system. Since they released it, they haven't touched it, and it feels like they released it as a half-finished product and then forgot about it. They can start with basic things like making the menu itself look a bit nicer or incorporating it into the hero screen. They should add more rewards for characters characters like unique emotes, highlight intros, or hero skins, or a rare skin at level 10, an epic at level 60, and a legendary at 125. Just give players more unique things they can show off on every character, because right now it's only name cards, icons, or titles. You can only use one at a time anyways. Also, retroactively adjusting the numbers for some of the sub badges would be nice. For example, Mercy blaster kills and Torb hammer kills and Lucio environmental elims require way too much to level up. I mean, this is a unanimous yes. We talked about the progression system like 5 minutes ago in this video, but your suggestion on actually adding like a special unique emote for having like hero level whatever 125 is actually a really good suggestion. They probably would never do skin because they sell you skins and that's their main bread and butter, but literally just a weapon charm or something to show something off would be really nice of them to do, and not even like that resource intensive, to be honest with you. But I agree, it's half. They released it and they have 0 people working on that product, and they're continuing to progress and work on other things that make them money and make the general player base happy. This is definitely something that like a bigger team would be able to accomplish and take a look at, but I don't think they're going to be looking at it, which is a shame. I do think they do need to expand on it a lot more. Suggestion: in push, the bot will move 20% faster with the losing team, only the running speed, but not the actual pushing speed. And then once you get the lead, the speed boost goes to the enemy team. This is actually like something we mentioned earlier with how push is an imbalance, and maybe in the hot takes video I filmed earlier. But I agree. I do think if you want to make it like truly a bit more balanced, you have to give the losing speed a compensatory speed boost for the running speed, so that, you know, if the team again wins the first fight and gets 50%, the team that counters and wins the next fight will never make it back to 50, because the time it takes for the bot to go back to the 0 starting point doesn't make up for that, the time for it to start pushing. Like, the team that takes the first lead will almost always have the advantage every time. That being said, maybe there is something to be said about like simply winning the first fight. Like, you earned it for a reason and you should have an advantage, and you shouldn't give a disadvantage to to a team that should have been rewarded for winning the first fight. Your reward was the early lead, and then the reward should be that even if they win the second fight, you're still in the lead because you earned the first fight. So there's the counter argument. But I actually think 20% could be something they start at, and if it doesn't look like it's good, they could take it off. But I would actually say yes, to make push maybe feel a bit better. Reinhardt's mythic hammer flourish needs to be spammable like Anna's fidget spinner. I mean, yeah, sure. Next. Suggestion: Junkrat should get a relative sensitivity on Riptire, similar to the one setting Genji has on Dragonblade. It's already a used technique for a good amount of Junkrat players to press the DPI button when using tires to get a higher sense, and doing some rollouts would be much harder, if not impossible, on normal sensitivity, and I think having it as a setting would be a nice quality of life change for Junkrat. I actually didn't even know good Junkrat players actually had a sensitivity DPI changer for that. That's actually interesting, but now that you mention it, that's true. Whenever I see some nutty rap players, their tires, when they're flying in the air and the tire starts doing some wacky shit, and just having it baked into the game with a separate sensitivity would be a good. I think it's easy to add too. They've added a lot of quality of life setting changes in recent times. They just didn't do this one because maybe it hasn't been suggested, but now that you suggested it, let's amplify it a bit. And sure, Junkrat players, go crazy, man. All right, I think that's all I'm going to answer this week. Thanks for the suggestions. Add some more for next week, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.